Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here today, for now at least, to talk about Fargo, Season 4, Episode 5, The Birthplace of Civilization. And now, I like this episode. I thought it was good. Of course, I gotta just say that right off the bat, because I know that a lot of the unintelligent people watching are just gonna jump on if I say anything negative, if I critique anything, literally, I didn't like the fact that there was that one scene where there was this one little error over there. People are just gonna say, oh, you hate the show, you hate everything, blah blah blah. So I gotta preface the review, the actual review for the intelligent viewers to watch, and say that I liked the episode. I thought it had its problems, but I still liked it. I thought that overall it ended very well. It built up nicely. The only problem that I had was, I didn't really like the structure of the episode, the way that it seems like there's a lot of stories, and it would be hard for anybody to put all those stories together in a single episode, have each one just perfectly, it seems like it'd be very hard to do that, to pace this sort of story. And I think that this episode really, it's hard to think back, kind of I'm just thinking about the last stuff, I'm not really thinking about, all these, there's so many things in this episode. It's such a full episode, full of stories. It just, I still liked it though. I liked it. I'm very positive about it. I think that overall, that it was good, and I am excited. I thought last episode was slightly better, but I still like this episode, and I'm excited for next week. And I thought that there were some particular acting moments that were really good as well. And sorry, Safi's coming finally, so I have to unlock the door. Maybe she should knock 3 times like that nervous character. Oh, look, she's knocking! Hey, Safi. The review's already filming. I'm shooting right now. So, what do you think about the episode, Safi?
Well, I really liked it, but as usual, the lighting was crap, and the sound was really low. I mean, everybody was talking really low. I had to replay several things more than once just to understand what they were saying. I just don't get it. These people have a lot of money to make something good for people to watch, and they can't spend enough money on lighting and sound. I mean, really? But I thought there was a lot to unpack. A lot of things happened. Some sad, some weird. There were some backstories to people. I counted at least 4. I won't say what the backstories are, but what the 2 women, what their crimes actually were, which I never knew or heard really what they were, except they were in prison. But of course, they could have gone to prison for stealing something big, and we hear about that kind of thing all the time. So, I didn't know. And then also the bad local cop, the Kansas City guy.
He's not a bad cop, in my opinion.
Well, he's not. He's kind of messed up. Well, we already know something's going on with him. I don't know if he has Tourette's syndrome, where you have a tic, or it's something to do. We've talked about his mental health, where he does this knocking to kind of calm himself down and get focused.
Well,
I don't know.
We got his backstory, and it was really funny because there was a scene, and Chris Rock is telling him his backstory, but it's funny because like
Well, this is part 2.
Chris Rock is bragging that he didn't fight in the war against Hitler. Like, that's something to be proud of, that he didn't fight in World War II.
Well, he said,
And
America hates me, so why should I fight for them?
Yeah, what a dipshit. He's making all the black people who did fight in World War II, you know, it's...
Who are heroes.
Yeah, heroes.
And did a lot of
and
good things to help people.
It just shows how trash his character is. And his character was still trash all the way up until the scene with his wife. And it was funny, too, because he didn't even know the full story behind
No, he didn't.
the war thing. Like, he you know, and it's almost like he probably wouldn't have cared,
No,
to be honest, because he's such an evil person. And so I really like the fact that they gave him a good backstory instead of just like saying, oh, he's just the bad guy. It's just very generic. You know, they gave him a good backstory.
Well, it added a lot to his character. I mean, he was collecting, I could say this, I don't think that's going to be a really magnificent, huge spoiler, but I think those were Hummel figures, if I'm not mistaken. He had a humongous collection of them on his dresser in perfect, like they were all in order, they were evenly spaced apart, and then above them it was kind of like a shrine, I think, don't you? To his what would have been his
GF.
Well, I think he was going to marry her, so maybe it was his fiance, or he wanted her to be his fiance. I'm not sure, but anyway, it was kind of like a shrine. Maybe they were hers, or maybe she liked them and he collected them in memory of her. Who knows? We don't know that, but that doesn't even matter. It's just the fact that they finally did something so we could understand his.
I was talking about how my biggest problem was the structure, because I think that there's a lot of stories that they're telling, and it's structured in like a way where it's just like very chaotic, like the structure really doesn't make sense. But I don't know how it could make sense since there's so many stories.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it. But I think I give the episode a B+.
Yeah.
The same as the last episode, even though I like last episode better. Because I thought it was just because there were several weird cringy moments, like the thing with the narrator girl and the U.S. Marshal, who I would say the U.S. Marshal is my favorite character overall.
We got a tiny fragment of a backstory about him. He's married and has kids. I don't think I heard that before. He wanted to get back to me. He'd been there a week. Which, that's another thing for me that's hard for me to judge in this, but I think it's like that. I started watching season 1, and time, like in terms of days, I have a hard time judging how many days have passed. And he said he'd been there a week already, so I was kind of surprised about that.
But did you like that scene with the narrator girl where he's telling her that, you know, those lesbo bandits are like evil and they've killed people?
Well, she didn't know.
And then she says some BS about some woke Twitter BS about Africa and stuff.
Well, I think
that was stupid.
I think she was just kind of in shock, and also, well, I think I was in shock. I didn't realize. I thought we never heard. At least I didn't. Maybe I missed it. I never heard what they did. I thought they were just thieves. I didn't know they were killers.
They killed people and they robbed the people this season, Safi.
Well, yeah,
They're
I know
killers.
that. Well, I mean, before, when they were in prison.
No, no.
Well, I don't know if she knew that they had even. Did she know what happened there about the money and all that? We don't even know. I mean, her parents know now.
I mean,
but I don't think she did.
I mean, what'd you think about what she said? I mean, wasn't that stupid?
I just think she said it because.
Is that?
It doesn't matter. She's she's 17.
Stupid.
She's a 17-year-old girl.
It's like, what does that have to do with these innocent people who got killed at the hands of these criminals?
I know, but...
Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Well, it's called blood is thicker than water. That's what.
It's just stupid, and so I was glad the U.S. Marshal was like,
Well,
yeah,
I'm glad he told her too.
yeah,
Because if her parents didn't tell her, right? And they
Yeah.
should have been the ones to tell her, like her mother, who is her aunt's sister.
and he also told her, like, I'm gonna ruin your life or her life, and you should choose which one. I
Well,
thought that was great,
That
but
was good.
I was upset though because I thought, this episode said that he shakes the tree. And in my opinion, he didn't shake any tree at all because I thought that would mean he would be targeting these criminal gangs as well.
Yeah.
And he really didn't get to do that this episode, but
Well,
I'm excited to see him do that in future episodes.
Yeah, me too. I just think he was there on a mission, and that was to find those women, I believe. So he had to take care of that first anyway. So that doesn't surprise me that he's taking care of business first. And maybe he knows that guy is a bad cop in terms of him taking money. I think he saw that, or he knows something's off about him, because remember after they went to that, what was it, a warehouse, and all those cops came and they took people away, and he was watching from afar in his car. So we know that he knows something, and the cop was with, and he just, why was he there? I mean, he didn't go in, he didn't even announce himself, so I think he knows something's off about him, but maybe he doesn't know what, but he still was there for a purpose. I think he's taking care of that first.
And Mario is still trash.
Ugh.
He's still a cartoonish buffoon
Ugh.
of a character. He's
bad.
he
He's
has-
evil.
Yeah, so what? He's a cartoon. I don't take any of it seriously because
Well,
I can't.
Mario's not evil.
I can't take him seriously. I can't take his friends seriously because he doesn't have he's just boring. He's just there. He doesn't really have like anything to him besides he's like a noir looking character. And so like since I can't take them seriously, I can't take the evil stuff they're doing seriously.
You can't,
No.
even with the ending of the show episode.
I took the action. I took the result of their action seriously, but I still couldn't take them seriously doing it.
Well, either could he.
It felt like something that was. It felt like something that was gonna happen, but it should have been done by an actual character instead of these cartoony buffoons of characters. Because there's this whole extended sequence where Mario is at this cafe and he's dancing around like a buffoon.
A couple of times he did that.
And then he slips and falls and he's like,
On the ice.
You think that's funny? You're supposed to do your job, and your Jesus looks like a woman. he's just so stupid. I mean, like, is this supposed to be the villain of the scene? Like, it's just so stupid. Like, I just hate him so much. Like, this awful cartoony. It's like an embarrassment. It's like I hate it. What'd you think about that, Safi? I mean, do you like his character?
Well, I thought the what happened was they were going into this little cafe, and there was he said he was dancing around. They were playing this like opera music.
Why is he dancing in the middle of the street?
I don't know, Italian opera.
Oh, so he's just a stereotypical Italian who
They always,
dances every time he hears opera music?
and that's not any that I don't know what that's about. But anyway,
I don't either.
he falls on the ice because it snowed, and there is ice in Kansas City during the winter.
I wish he would have cracked his head open and died.
And then the boy who works, he's not a boy, but he's a young man who works at this little cafe. He was sweeping out on the sidewalk, and when the guy fell, he started laughing at him like, oh my God. And we're thinking something bad's going to happen. And nothing happened, but you're still wary because this guy, Mario guy, is sick.
So
And then,
stupid.
well, So that's what that's about.
But I would say that the best scenes if we had to say like the top 3 best scenes, I would say the scene with Chris Rock and his wife was really good.
Yeah, well, that's when he woke up.
Yeah, he woke up.
Chris Rock, from the beginning of the whole season until now, he's been kind of like one tone or one note. And that was like, didn't say much, didn't say much that was worthwhile.
He speaks in just one singular level.
Yeah.
He's putting on this weird voice where it's like, I'm a serious actor now, and I'm just gonna talk like this.
And it wasn't, and it's not, and he's better at what he usually does.
Yeah,
I mean, he
did really good in this scene. Like, it was like a great scene.
He woke up. That's what I think, and he.
I want to see more of that.
That was funny. I love that
because of his mom.
No, that's his. I think
her
that was his mother-in-law. He goes home after certain things have happened. And his wife's getting ready to go where, I'm not sure what she was going to do. And his mother-in-law's sitting there. She's doing some kind of needlework or something, crocheting, I don't know. And so his wife gets on his case about what's happened, and she's worried about her kids.
She's going to bail him out.
Okay. And then, well, I thought that, but there was a lot more to bail out than just him. But anyway,
she didn't care about them.
Right. She cares about her children. And her other one's over with the Italians.
Oh, he's safe.
Yeah. And then she'd say something, and the mother-in-law would go, mm-hmm. She just kept doing that. It was so hilarious.
I kind of wish that the mother character would have I hope that
slapped his face.
Oh no, I hope that she comes back. Like, it'd be funny if the Mario character came over and she had an interaction with him or something, like, because I think, like, it was great to have that scene because it really helped make this episode better, as well as a couple other scenes. I think that what was the other? And obviously the stuff with the backstory of the nervous cop. That was really good stuff.
Yeah, it was. It was very full. It said a lot without saying a lot.
And you even had to knock to get into the review, Safi.
Right.
You had to knock like him. And I think that the weakest part, though, is probably the stuff with the narrator girl. Because, like, she obviously she's writing a letter about Nurse Mayflower, and then
to her boss.
Yeah, and I thought, this is kind of queer, she's like trying to cancel Nurse Mayflower or something. Like, it's very
I'm not sure what she's trying to do.
It's weird because it's like, that's really, like, you're gonna go to the head of this hospital, which is like, he's like this racist, bad hospital. It's just, it doesn't make sense.
She did not. But she was not talking as herself. She was pretending like she was a nurse who had worked alongside her, so she was not being honest. And she's taken an awful chance. I don't know what they would do as a result, what she expects they're going to do, but this is something that a kid might do.
I don't know. She has a ring. What's she doing with the ring?
I'm not sure what she's going to do with the ring. We don't know that yet.
But I'm just talking in general. She goes to the motel to visit the lesbian bandits.
And her father told her not to.
Yeah, of course she does the opposite. And
of course.
Because she's like this.
She's a 17-year-old girl. It doesn't surprise me. Why is it surprising to you?
Because her character is just so unlikable.
Well, she's not unlikable to me. I just think she's just young and irresponsible. She's too sometimes. But she's really smart. And she doesn't know what to do with all those smarts.
It was weird too that, like, they weren't watching her, the police, because if they
obviously the marshal was.
No, because he would have known that she went into that hotel why is she going? And it's like, if you had just watched her. All along, you would have known she went into that hotel and they're there.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what a dumb little brat. I mean, she's going there the police could be watching her. I mean, what is she doing?
She's just not. Let's just say she's not thinking responsibly or
and,
rationally.
And I thought that was all weak. You know, we have to have another scene of these bandits, and they're like little kids, and they're just like goofing around, and they say some. It's just, I liked mostly everything about this episode, but all the stuff with her was probably the weakest stuff. And then it got really good at the end because something finally happened. Like someone finally gets killed.
Well, the thing is, we heard about this at the last episode. Are we in war or not? Are we going to war or not? And finally, it kind of it broke.
Finally. And so, what would you rate this episode, Safi?
Well, I give it a B+ too, because it was just the lighting and the sound, but I thought the content was really good. And finally, Chris Rock woke up and actually did some acting, and there were so many good quotes, and I wrote down some.
I'm reading them off your paper, and those quotes are trash, Safi.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're trash.
I just thought it was interesting.
Oh, the roller coaster quote was good.
Okay, well, I'll just say that one if you want.
Yeah.
I'll keep the rest for myself.
Those other ones are trash.
Well, not really. But anyway, you know, when Chris Rock had came back to the house and saw his wife, we just talked about this, you know, he got really angry, of course, and that's when he went off and actually did some acting that was more than a monotone. And and one facial expression, he really woke up, like we've said about 10 million times now. But his final quote was something like, quote, "We're on the ride now, and we can get off. We can't get off until the roller coaster stops."
And
so,
I thought that was a great quote, and there hasn't really been any other good quotes this whole season.
No, there hasn't.
And so
I
really thought,
look for that.
Yeah, and so I thought that's a good reason to like this episode, is for the good one-liners here and there.
I have one more. It's only one line, and
I'm gonna tell you it's trash.
This one? The doctor senator tells, I call him Roman Nose, and I'm sorry, I cannot get the names of all these people. I finally found Chris Rock's name is Mr. Cannon. I mean, I've
known that since the first episode, Safi.
Well, I didn't, but anyway.
What the hell?
He's telling, he's going to that restaurant where he gets, we always see him eating breakfast or something.
Or not eating it.
And this time he had some coffee. And the Roman Nose, like, that's what I call him. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. And actually, I wanted to mention too, he told a little of his backstory, which was interesting.
I thought that was weak.
It was just a couple lines.
I didn't take him seriously at all when he said that.
And, you know, he's with Mario. Mario's having a chocolate sundae. Which, they gave him a little pitcher of chocolate syrup.
He just pours the entire thing.
He just keeps pouring it and pouring it. And you have that in the background, but they show it.
You see what I mean?
Talking.
You see what I mean when he's like a cartoon? Why do they do that?
Anyway, Dr. Senator thought he was meeting that consigliere.
Consigliere.
That older guy, and I don't know what happened to him either. Unless he must have gotten killed, but I never saw it. But anyway, he's not sure he's supposed to deal with, and he doesn't, and this is what he said, because it sounds like they were saying he's going to have to deal with them from now on instead of the older guy. And he says, you know, you have a fellow countryman from Italy named Machiavelli. And he says, he wrote, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." I thought that was a good one too, and that's a real quote.
That was a good quote. Okay, fine.
So I have more, but those were really good.
Those other ones on your paper are trash, though. Especially
that
cartoony mustache man talking to the black prisoners, saying that stupid quote.
I thought something bad was going to happen then, like killing and shooting everybody, and I didn't know what was going to happen.
It was a cartoony quote, Safi.
No, I don't think so.
But overall, I mean, the episode was good. I thought that it was good, and so I still think that it has room to go. But I thought that they did a good. I would say that the number one thing this episode did good was building character for all the different characters, which is very important when you have such a plot-heavy show, that you don't skimp out on the character building, because you could just have it to be where it's just plot happening and you don't really care because you don't really know the characters very well and they're just one-dimensional. And unfortunately, there are a couple of characters that are still like that, like Mario, that trash character. And I thought it was really a dark episode too.
Yeah,
and so you should probably know that going into it. I would say the title of the episode is trash too, because
I don't understand the title.
It really has nothing to do with the entire episode except for the one stupid quote that the narrator girl says in a scene. And so I thought that the title was trash.
Well, that's the thing. It seems on even on the first season, which, like I said, I started to watch, the titles just don't have much to do with what goes on in the episode, and that's really strange. I don't get that.
I would beg to differ on that, Safi.
Well, I just started, so it could change. But these titles so far, for the most part, they have nothing to do. Unless I'm missing it.
Yeah, like there was that one episode and they called it like Radicchio or something.
No, it was it's an Italian word and it means change it up or something.
Radicchio?
No, it wasn't Radicchio. It was I don't know what it was exactly because I don't really speak Italian.
And God, that narrator girl, like she has a terrible birthday.
No, I know. In more ways than one.
And those criminals are like, you got any food on you? You got any food? And like, even though they have all this money, or I guess right now, like, what are they doing?
I don't know.
You got any food?
Drinking.
Oh yeah, I got some.
They got alcohol.
I got some pretzels. And I liked what the reason why I said all that was because I did like what happens with their characters. The fact that now they're going to be working for Chris Rock, spoiler alert. Yeah. I thought that was actually a great idea for a plot.
And let's just say this. I don't care. I'm going to clear it up. Is they're not going to be working as hookers because she said the African American woman. She said we don't do that. And he said, Chris Rock said, I don't want you to do that. I want you to be my invisible army or something. So I don't even know what that means. And they didn't know what it means. And he didn't explain it.
Even if they didn't want to work as hookers, he still could have forced them to, and they wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. Because they're powerful and they're evil. Well, just like the criminal girls, and it's like they're just like these little kids playing outlaw, and like this is what they get for doing that. Like they have to pay the consequences for their actions, somehow.
Yeah, because first they escaped jail.
Yeah.
And then they
killed more people.
They killed more people when they were stealing this money, and
now I mean they're still in this hotel. They still haven't left, and it's like, what are you doing?
I do want to say this, and it's a spoiler, but it's not going to matter.
What was that, Safi?
I'm hungry.
Did you eat some of that pie on the show?
Sometimes it feels like I have, but anyway.
Uh-oh.
The father, the mortician guy, they figured out, at least him, maybe his wife too, that nurse poisoned the pie. So he said that to the daughter. He said because she said something about him.
I hope that the nurse starts killing people soon, because I brought up the fact that in other seasons it seems like the villain of the season was a lot more incorporated into what was going on. Season 1, Billy Bob Thornton was just killing people every minute, and then season 2, the black guy is killing everyone all the time, and in season 3, season 3 he's taking over and he's setting up, and then he kills a shit ton of people, and so it's like, it just feels like Nurse Mayflower. I hope that she gets to kill some people next episode.
Well, they only spent 5 minutes or less on her. Basically, She was sitting in a chair.
She's doing Nurse Ratched better than
Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched. Yeah.
And she's bonking her head against her chair in frustration, and that's about it. And so I would think they would cover her more next episode.
So I'm excited for next episode. Are you, Safi?
Sure am.
Are you gonna pay attention?
What are you talking about?
Safi, you didn't even know his name was Mr.
I
Cannon?
don't know any of their names, frankly. I mean, if they're on screen for a little bit of the time, and then they go off, and then you go to the next thing, and then you go to the next, like we said.
You didn't know his name was Roy Cannon?
No.
They literally say his name in the first episode.
Well, I'm sorry. There's just so many characters. You know, they say when you write not to have a lot of characters because it can convolute the story.
Yeah, that's what you call trash.
That's true.
That's what you call trash advice, because you can write whatever the F you want to write.
Yeah, you can,
and
but
if it's good writing, it's going to be good.
Maybe, but that's what's been written when people teach
really?
Writing. Yes.
Not from anyone that I've heard of.
Well, whatever. Anyway, I think we should end this review
What should people do, Safi?
Well, I really hope you like
or dislike
or subscribe. That would be nice. Make a comment about what you think about Mario and the 17-year-old girl, the nurse, whatever. But we'd appreciate your hitting the like button or the subscribe button, whatever you want. So thanks for listening. See you soon. Bye.
Goodbye.